So, of course, the big story last year was Aaron Rodgers joining the New York Jets and how that was going to change everything. Something I did not personally understand, because Aaron Rodgers in his last year in Green Bay kind of stunk the place out. They didn't make the playoffs. The very first year with Jordan Love, they make the playoffs. I'm not trying to crap on the legacy of Aaron Rodgers. I'm just saying, I never understood this whole idea. And then he goes down injured. Totally sucks for him and for the Jets fans. Everybody, he goes down first quarter of the first game. But then coming now, Aaron Rodgers is a year's worth of rust, a year older, and a lot of people were picking them to be favorites in the AFC, favorites to maybe make a Super Bowl. There were a bunch of people singing that song, and I never understood it. Like, I'm like, why? This isn't 2012. I mean, why all this? Well, you got to expect and give a little bit of leeway to Aaron Rodgers because rust, get to know the team, all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to say it out loud. It's time to accept reality. As of right now, I'm not talking about the past. I'm not talking about his legacy. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm saying right now, at best, Aaron Rodgers is an average NFL quarterback. At best. Take a look at this. Aaron Rodgers now through 5 weeks has only had one game where he's completed over 62% of his passes. One game. And that was against the Patriots. So congratulations. You threw for, 77% against Patriots. It's still good, right? He hasn't had a single 300-yard game yet. And that's not the measure of whether you're doing well or not. But for him, he's only had one game where he's thrown over 250 yards. And then when you watched him against Minnesota, who granted has a tough defense, but when you look at those picks that he was throwing, that wasn't, at least two of them, they were just straight up brutal decisions, straight up brutal throws. And he's throwing like 1,000 times a game right now.
Yeah.
They've got one of the better backs in the NFL. So, I mean, there's also a coaching question here as well. Like, you got one of the best backs in the NFL. You're just throwing it 1,000 times a game and all that kind of stuff. But he's not completing a high percentage of them, at least when he's not playing the Patriots. He's making some horrible decisions. I mean, that egg they laid last week against the Broncos, who by the way, are shock and surprise. They're 3-2 now.
Yeah.
But they couldn't put up more than 9 points. Granted, there was some weather and all that kind of stuff, but they could put up more than 9 points. And it just seemed like every moment that was big. Look, am I saying that Aaron Rodgers is a bad quarterback? No. But if you think he's anything more than a middle of the pack NFL quarterback right now, I don't know what to tell you, because he is definitely not top 5. I don't think he's top 10. I think if he's lucky, he's somewhere in the middle of the pack of NFL starting quarterbacks. And I think the Jets, other than Cleveland with Deshaun, I think this will go down as one of the worst trades. I literally don't think the Jets are going to get any payoff from this. And obviously the Deshaun Watson deal was way worse for, we're going to talk tomorrow about Deshaun Watson and what's going on in Cleveland. But so Ryan, you're hearing me say it's time to face the facts. As of right now, Aaron Rodgers is at best an average NFL quarterback. Am I right or am I wrong?
I would say the keyword would be right now. I think he's an average quarterback. Basically what you're saying, the interceptions, the decision-making, it is a new team to him. Basically, like you said, he was out the whole first year. The offensive coordinator though is his friend, and so the play calling should be exactly what he wants, because that's part of the deal for him coming there.
Untalented friend, by the way.
Well, yeah, bad head coach. But
because remember Sean said in Denver about him, it's like the guy who was the coach here was an idiot.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers got all puffy defending. That's my guy. Well, guess what? Your guy's not very good.
Yeah. The Jets coach, I mean, that one game, the first game where he went to hug Rodgers and he did like a weird.
Yeah, when Saleh went for the coach, that was weird
interesting
language.
too. The picks are one thing. I looked it up. Basically, Aaron Rodgers' average interceptions per whole year is 8, and he already has half that. So that's bad. I know 3 of them were in the Minnesota game, but I think he's still trying to get used to the receivers.
Yeah.
But they have good weapons. Like you said, the running back, the receivers are good. I think he's trying to do throws he used to do, and maybe he can't do them right now still. I think he needs to still, grow into it, learn these players. I'm not going to say he's washed yet, because there's still some throws he throws on the sidelines and during the game where I'm like, that's a laser. It's exactly where it needs to go. But I do think overall, right now, I would say he's probably is a run-of-the-mill, I'll say run-of-the-mill, average to above average quarterback, but he's not an elite quarterback right now.
Look, with all the crap I seem to be talking about Aaron right now, let me be clear, though. Let's say I'm a Bills fan and I'm winning by 5 and there's a minute 20 on the clock.
Yeah.
Do I want to see Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the field marching down the field against me? No, hell no, I do not. I mean, so like I'm sitting here saying he's a middle of the road, but if it came down to the last minute and like a division championship game or something like that, I do not want to look across the field and see Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, he has the benefit of a good defense. They have a top 5
He
defense.
does, yeah.
So all he needs to do is put up points, and the defense will keep the other guys hopefully under a high score. So, just don't do turnovers.
But putting up points is the thing.
Yeah.
Now, how much changes if, because we alluded to this a little bit earlier. Of course, Devontae Adams is a name that's out there right now. There's no denying there's magic between Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Like they have a shorthand. Aaron Rodgers always just seemed to know which way he was going to go, even when it was a freelanced play. Like when the play had broken down and he's out there ad-libbing it, Rodgers just always seemed to know where he was going to go. And Devontae always just seemed to know where Rodgers would be looking. Does it change much for the Jets, let's say, argument's sake, that he does end up going to New York?
I mean, it's another weapon. I mean, they have Wilson and stuff, so they have receivers. I don't know if that's the case, although Wilson's not on the same page, it seems like, with Aaron Rodgers.
Clearly not yet.
So if they can't get on the same page, no matter how good he is, they're going to have a problem. So if Devontae can come in and basically not miss a beat and knows the plays because the same play caller from back in Green Bay, then sure. I don't know what the hell Jets have left to trade or do. They've given away everything.
They've mortgaged
everything. I don't know, unless Raiders are just like, well, we don't want to send him to, division team. We'll send him to the Jets for whatever 5th round pick, but he gets paid a lot too. So I think it definitely would help, but I don't know. I don't know if that's their issue, honestly.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about my statement that it's time to accept the fact that as of right now, Aaron Rodgers is a middle of the pack, average NFL quarterback? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Whatever you guys think, jump into the comments and leave your thoughts there.